Hello and welcome back to Point to Point. First off, I want to thank everyone who's watched and commented on my videos over the last several months. I truly appreciate the support and the constructive dialogue. Now, if you caught my contraflow video over the summer, you may recall that I mentioned a new neighborhood greenway planned for Chicago's north side. Once completed, this 3.3-mile route on Levitt will serve as one of those ideal, quiet bikeways, accessible to riders of all abilities and providing a north-south connector in an area that needs one. The south section of this greenway was recently finished, so I went to give it a test run last week. Check out a few of these before and after shots. Fun, huh? I'll do a more thorough review once the entire greenway is completed, but let me share my first impression. At the risk of sounding like Bill Hader's Stefan character from SNL, this bike route has everything. Green sharrows, regular sharrows, contraflow, speed humps, and this. My initial reaction was, what the heck is this? Maybe you've seen this type of lane in your city, especially if you live somewhere bike-friendly like the Netherlands, but it was new to me. Turns out it's called an advisory bike lane, and if you really want to get into the weeds, check out a white paper published a few years ago by Alta Planning and Design, an urban design firm based in Portland. I'll put a link in the description. Basically, advisory bike lanes allow two-way street traffic and two-way bike traffic on a street that's not wide enough for it. So how does this work? Well, the simple answer is that everyone has to share. There's no center line, so in the absence of other traffic, a vehicle is guided toward the middle of the street. The lines for the bike lanes are dashed, not solid, indicating that when bikes aren't present, vehicles may use this part of the street when there's two-way traffic. If two vehicles arrive at the same time while bikes are present, then one of the cars is supposed to yield to the bikes while the other car passes. You may be thinking a couple things at this point. You might say this atypical design calls for significant street signage, and there's going to be a steep learning curve. Or you might argue that it would be better to just make this a one-way street with a contraflow. Or you might be wondering if this is actually an upgrade over having a completely unmarked street. Let me try to address each of these. If you scroll through the Alta white paper, you'll notice there were a dozen North American advisory bike lanes included in the study. Some use standard bike lane signage, or no signage at all. The best have signs indicating that the road is to be shared, like this custom one in Ottawa. I didn't see any signage yet in Chicago, but I'm hoping some will be added soon. In terms of making the street one way, that may have been considered to be too politically and logistically challenging. There are several one-way sections along the route, and the contraflow parts there work fine, although it's going to take time for drivers to get used to this new setup. I noticed quite a few not respecting the bike lane while I was filming. Maybe taking a two-way lane, making it one-way, then adding contraflow would be simply too much change all at once, so advisory markings were added instead. Could the city have simply skipped the advisory paint, leaving these blocks unmarked? Perhaps, but I think that in the context of this entire route being a neighborhood greenway, it's good to have some indication that this is a street that bikes are encouraged to use. The city could have relied on simple sharrows, but you know you'll never find me in the pro sharrows camp. The dash line is a better reminder to vehicles to share the road over the entire block. I'm fine with the city trying new ideas, and with how low traffic volumes are on Levitt, I think the advisory lanes could work here. I rode on a weeknight at 5:30, and it felt like a place a family could ride together. I actually rode back and forth several times in the advisory sections to try to get some footage of what a vehicle conflict would look like, and I really couldn't find any. Time will be the ultimate judge. For now, I'm cautiously optimistic. So what do you think? Are advisory lanes popping up in your neighborhoods? Or would you like to see them added? Or do you think they're a complete waste of time and money? Let me know in the comments, and feel free to like and subscribe if you want more hard-hitting bike lane news like this. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.